Hello and welcome to this very special interview. We have with us a former Australian cricketer and now the assistant coach of Delhi Capitals, Shane Watson. Shane, welcome to NDTV. Let's start by asking you about Delhi's chances of making it to the playoff. Delhi's fate is in their hands. How confident are you?
Look, I'm very confident. We've sort of had a bit of an up and down ride throughout the tournament so far, and now things are certainly, the fate is in our own hands with this last game against the Mumbai Indians, knowing that they haven't had a very good season so far. Well, this season's been a big surprise that the Mumbai Indians haven't been playing their best cricket, but they are incredibly dangerous because they've got a number of world-class players in there. But for us to know that going into that last game, if RCB don't win against the Gujarat Titans, then it might mean that the fate is, we could get through anyway, as long as things don't go horribly wrong. But for us to win back-to-back games at a really important time, the back end of the tournament, means that we are moving in the right direction to sort of get as close as we can to that perfect game of T20 cricket, which the time when you want that to actually come together is right at the back end of the tournament when your fate is on the line. And the last two games in particular have been great that we've been able to put those back-to-back wins together.
You mentioned about Delhi's ups and downs and the inconsistency shown by Delhi as a team. Do you believe this inconsistency has hurt them in the long run?
I think consistency has hurt us for sure. It's meant that we aren't already qualified for the finals. But a lot of the franchises have been inconsistent as well, because after a big auction, everyone really trying to find their feet on the right combinations for their team, how all the overseas and local players are going to fit into the team dynamic and that as well. So you can understand why things have been a bit inconsistent for the majority of franchises, and especially for the Delhi Capitals, to be able to win and be in that sort of the pattern of win-loss sort of all the way through the whole tournament until the last two games just has been as frustrating, of course, because we want to be winning. You always want to win every game. But for us, it's just really been able to provide and find that consistency within the playing group, but also just with selection as well. That's a really important part, to be able to be as consistent as we can as well within selection, so people feel like they're comfortable to be able to go and play with freedom and not be looking over their shoulder thinking if I don't play well, then I might be not playing the next game. So that's also been very important for the Delhi Capitals to try and hold our selection and core group together as much as we possibly can. So and now hopefully we can really get on a roll. We can win the games that we need to back to be able to really get into the finals and into the final, which would be an amazing achievement. The great thing is here at the Delhi Capitals, we've known from the start that we've got a world-class team and a world-class squad. For us, it's just putting all those pieces together and playing that perfect T20 game of cricket, which we're getting closer and closer to.
Okay, one player who has shown for Delhi this year is your mate David Warne. How valuable is he to this team, and what can you say about his impact?
Yeah, Dave's contributed a hell of a lot on and off the field. I always knew that Dave, he had a big point to prove after all the sort of the disappointing stuff that happened around him at the Sunrisers, which was, for someone who had played such a huge part in a franchise, to be sort of cast aside like he did was very, very surprising. So I knew him going into whichever team Dave played with in this IPL, he had a point to prove, because he was still his best cricket. He's got a lot of incredible cricket in front of him as well. So I knew whichever team was going to pick him up in the auction was he was going to have a great year. So that's why when the Delhi Capitals picked him up, I was absolutely stoked, because he's a world-class player, and he had a big point to prove as well. And Dave Warne, people who know Dave Warne knows that when Dave's back is against the wall, that's when he plays his best, when he's there to prove a point. And he's done it time and time again for a long period of time. So his consistency that he's shown just continues on with what he's done in majority of the IPL tournaments that he's played in. And everyone knows how fortunate they are to be able to have Dave in our team, just from a batting point alone. Let alone then just the energy that he provides the group on the field and off the field, his leadership. He's sort of, I think I know Rishabh would be very grateful to be able to have Dave there as someone to be able to lean on, especially in pressure situations, because Dave knows how to handle that from a leadership point of view, let alone just as a player. So Dave just added so much value to the Delhi Capitals, and I knew he was going to add this value, and that's why I was I was absolutely stoked when the Delhi Capitals picked him up, because he's a huge asset.
Right. Okay, quick update on Prithvi Shaw as well. Will he be available for the match against Mumbai?
We hope he will be fit for the last match. It's day by day really right now for him recovering, and it's very unfortunate. Prithvi's a world-class batsman, world-class T20 batsman, and we saw that in some of the innings that he's played in this IPL as well. So he's certainly, we've got our fingers crossed that he will be able to get to back to full health by the time the Mumbai Indians game goes ahead. But the other thing is just around, he hasn't played for a couple of weeks now, unfortunately, as well. But someone of his skill, if he's fully fit, then someone with his skill will be able to sort of just hit the ground running again. So everyone's got their fingers crossed.
Also, let's also talk about Mitchell Marsh. He has had such a brilliant impact on Delhi. What do you think about his contribution to this team?
Yeah, gosh, he's another one who had a big point to prove as well. He hasn't really, in the IPL so far, he hasn't played a lot of IPL cricket, and he's been hitting his straps. Like, he's at his absolute peak right now, and has been showing that the last 18 months of the T20 cricket that he's played for Australia, and now leading into the Delhi Capitals. Yeah, he hadn't played for a little while, so he was a little bit rusty going into the first game. Then, unfortunately, he had to have up to 10 days off because he got COVID, unfortunately, tested positive for COVID. But it didn't take him long to be able to get back into his groove. And he's been the way he's able to come in from ball one and take the game away from the opposition against like the best bowlers in the world is just, it's an incredible skill that he's got, an incredible power that he's got. And then combining that with his bowling, which has added another dimension to, if you ask Rishabh Pant, he's stoked to be able to give him another bowling option, especially through those middle overs to break up our world-class spinners that we've got as well. So, he's added so much value on the field, let alone off the field. He's a great guy. He's a great team man. He's always been that way. So he's adding a lot of value off the field for the group as well. So, we're very fortunate, Delhi Capitals, to have Mitch Marsh as well.
Let's also talk about Rishabh Pant. As a captain, do you think he is mature enough to lead the Indian team one day? And why am I asking you this is because of his actions after the no ball controversy. Do you think it was questionable?
Oh no, for a 24-year-old, that's the thing that everyone's got to put into perspective. He's only 24. It seems like he's been around for 15 years because he started so young. And he's learning and evolving as a person, as a cricketer, and as a leader as well. And in the end, he's continuing to grow every single day, and evolve every single day. And that's the beauty of the opportunity that Rishabh's got as a leader of the Delhi Capitals. Is the only way you learn how to be a better leader is to actually do it and learn from your mistakes and learn from the good times. So, and there's been that situation that came along. That's the times when things don't go to plan or things don't go right, is when you learn the most. And so if you don't have those situations that arise that you see one side or the other of that situation, you don't actually know how to learn and where you can grow from. So for me, it's an amazing opportunity for Rishabh Pant to be able to continue to develop his leadership skills on and off the field. And he's going to be perfectly sort of situated by doing this for the Delhi Capitals over the next few years to be potentially the right place at the right time with the leadership skills that he's developed over the last quite a while to be able to take on the Indian captaincy if and when that opportunity arises. So, like anything in life, the more you do it, the better you get, the more lessons you learn along the way, and he's certainly doing that.
Shane, I also wanted to ask you about any Indian talent who has impressed you in this IPL tournament?
Well, there's been a few, two in particular. The first one is Kuldeep Yadav. To be able to see his evolution as a T20 spinner has been something that just excites me every time he takes the ball and he's about to bowl his first over. When he's bowls with the energy that he has in this IPL, he's as good as any spinner in the world, T20 spinner in the world. He's got incredible skill, and everyone's seen that in Test cricket, one-day cricket. But the way he's evolved his T20 bowling to the point where it's when he bowls at his best, it's as good as anything on the planet. So I'm so excited for him. One, he's an awesome guy. He's such a great guy. One of the sweetest people that I've met in and around cricket. So to be able to see him doing what he's doing is super exciting for everyone. And the other one is Khalil Ahmed. He's someone who I know playing against him. He's done well in the past as well. Playing against him, he played some really good games, but also feel like he had a few little chinks in his armour as well, whereas now swings the ball both ways at speed. He's got a great feel for what the right balls are to bowl. He's got a great change of pace, and he's been a huge part of the Delhi Capitals. When he's played, he's had a huge impact. So to be able to see him do very well has been very exciting for not just the Delhi Capitals, but Indian cricket as well. The skill that he's got is immense.
All right. In the end, Shane, the world of cricket lost Shane Warne, Rod Marsh and now Andrew Symonds. How big is this loss for cricket and for you personally? Yeah, gosh, it's been a tough couple of months, a very sad couple of months. To lose Rod Marsh and Shane Warne, who for me personally were two of my biggest influences in my life, not just my career, my life. To be able to lose those two incredible people was just so sad and tragic. And then, the news of Andrew Symonds passing away is it's heartbreaking. It's going to take, we're not going to get over this because he was just probably the best team man that I ever played with. And anyone who played with would say the exact same thing. He always had your back. He was great fun. He also made sure that if people were a little bit out of line in his own jovial way, would pull people back in the line. His cricket skill was as good as there's ever been, but just as a person, he's the ultimate team man. So it's a tragic loss, and we're all absolutely shattered. And our hearts just go out to his family. We know how shattered we are, but his family as well. It's just such a huge loss. Shane Watson, thank you very much for speaking to us. I hope Delhi goes through the playoff and hopefully win the tournament as well. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, we hope so too. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.